There's no debate about nuclear energy. When you do a poll, actually, you look at 60% actually are in favor. So why don't we have a debate? So, my 2 cents. We'll see.
Thank you. I can't help it, but I have to tell the old joke. Many of you may know this, and I know you know it. The joke about American reactors, French reactors, American cheese, and French cheese. So it was a couple of months ago, and I was having dinner with T. Boone Pickens and his wife Madeline and some other people at the Council on Foreign Relations. And at the end of the dinner, I was able to talk to Mr. Pickens. Those of you who are following, the Pickens plan. T. Boone is saying we need a lot more natural gas. We need to use a lot more wind power. That's the essence of his plan. Lots of wind and natural gas for transportation. And so I said, Mr. Pickens, have you heard the story about the reactors and the cheeses? And he said, in the United States, we have 100 different reactor designs, essentially. As Jacques was saying, it's basically kind of two models. It's the Westinghouse design and the General Electric design. But because of the way the plants were built, we have essentially 100 different types of designs. And the French are very smart. They ended up only having maybe 2 or 3 different designs. And so in France, you have 100 or more types of cheeses, rich smorgasbord.
And one reactor.
Basically 1 or 2 reactors, right? But in the United States, we have maybe 2 or 3 types of cheeses, American cheese, Swiss cheese, and cheddar. And we're so what would you?
I think it was also. I don't think I don't think the French are smarter. It was necessity actually. It's because there was only one utility. We decided early on to have one model and one fleet, and to build on the model. And actually, it helps reduce the cost, but also very important, improve safety. Because when you see something that's not working on one reactor, you check all the reactors. And it is my great belief that we need to do that back in the US. We can't afford to have 50 or 100 different reactors. We need to have 2 or 3 different models, and for safety, we need to limit that, actually. And it was the same mistake made by the British, actually. The British also, they have, each site is a different reactor. Yeah.
Well, speaking of T. Boone Pickens, so I asked Mr. Pickens, I said, would you invest in nuclear power plants in the United States? And he said, Charles, he said, I'm too old. He's in his mid-80s. And he said, it's not that it's a bad investment, but it takes a long time for it to pay off. And Jacques kind of hinted at this in his talk, that over the long term, if you amortize a nuclear plant over, say, 40 years, it's a great investment. It's a cash cow. If you ask anyone who works at Exelon, they're making a lot of money off these because the capital cost has been paid off, but it's getting over that hump of the construction cost. So what advice do you have for the United States to start investing in nuclear power plants with the price tag going up and the financial risk keeps increasing?
No, I think that's why the reason why we need, especially this year, a loan guarantee. In terms of the government guaranteeing, in the first 3 or 4 plants. Going forward, it may be something that several utilities can get together and form a consortium and build a reactor together. I think we'll see more and more, and we have some customers actually approaching us to share one reactor and to share something also. This is the model in Finland. Very interesting. Users, electro-intensive companies like aluminum, steel, paper mills, getting together and buying electricity in advance and building reactors. So we need to be innovative here. Something also I've been thinking about for a long time, because my retirement is in the US, so it's 401k. 401k is 60 years. So why not? And there is something that could be matched also with a reactor. Why not? You invest now and you get money in 60 years.
That's true. If you wait long enough, it could really pay off. So you brought up the Finland experience.
Yes.
So AREVA took a big risk.
Yes.
It's basically a turnkey type of deal.
Yes.
And it's first of its kind construction of the EPR.
Yes.
And it's been running into some problems. It's behind schedule, maybe 3 years behind schedule.
Yes.
Whatever. I read the trade press. If people whisper to its proportion, it's really 3 years, but it's probably going to say 2. But still, what message does that send to potential customers in other countries? Is that where you?
No, it doesn't actually. I mean, you need to know that when we took this risk, as you say, and we won the bid in 2002, actually, and nobody was building reactors for the last 10 or 15 years. And so we are learning, basically. And not only we are learning, but which is very difficult for us. And it will be the same in the US. And we need to, that's why we're investing massively right now, is that in order to build the reactors, you need to know how to build the reactors, but you need to have a right supply chain. And the supply chain in Europe didn't exist anymore. And the supply chain in the US doesn't exist anymore. So we are doing our job actually to try to rebuild it. Supply chain meaning to have the right person who can pour, quality, nuclear quality concrete.
Yeah.
And it's very, very difficult. You need somebody who can do nuclear quality welds. Very complicated. So that's why right now actually we're working in Savannah River, in this MOX program. And as we go with the DOE, where we're building the supply chain. So the good news about the US is that it's really a gift that we are going to give back to the US with a fee. Is that when we are done with a fee, it was very expensive. So what happened right now is that we have 2 reactors under construction in Europe. One in Finland, and this one is almost finished. I know it's delayed, but if you go in Finland in August, you will see that we are now putting the dome, the big dome on the top of the reactors. It will be done in 2012. The same thing for Flamanville. Flamanville is in Normandy. So we have 2 reactors ready. And guess what? When we break ground here for our new reactors, EPR, in Carver Cliffs in Maryland, we start in 2012. So yes. all these lessons learned will be transferred to the US.
And I was at the Flamanville site 2 months ago, and I saw it with my own eyes, and it's pretty much on schedule and on track. So there again, the AREVA is learning from the Finland experience, and I think what Jacques is saying that in terms of the management and the supply chain, kind of all integrated. And AREVA is really, other than AREVA and the Russians, maybe the Canadians, really the only one or 2 or 3 companies in the world that has a vertically integrated nuclear company.
No, we believe you need to, in order to do this business on time, on budget, and you need to be totally focused on it and totally integrated.
I'll ask you one more question, and I know people in the audience are eager to ask some of their own questions.
Yes.
And I should also mention my debt to a dear colleague, Alan Hansen, who's a senior vice president at AREVA. Alan and I have known each other for about 5 years now. I run a roundtable series at the Council on Foreign Relations, mainly in Washington, but I do some events here in New York. And so those of you who are really interested in nuclear energy and the corporate side of things, you can give me your card afterwards or email me, and I can get you on try to get you on the invitation list. I'll probably do a couple events in the coming 12 months here in New York. So Alan said, he's almost convinced me, of AREVA's business model, except for one area, and this is the recycling program. And I went to La Hague, and it's a very clean facility, very professionally run. So I have no kind of technical qualms that this is. Someone's trained as an engineer. But it's more the business side of things. And I'm not a businessman, but I look at the price tag, and you look at the cost, the additional cost for electricity for customers in France, it's almost an additional 6%. And that may seem small, but if you compare it to what's called the once-through uranium fuel cycle, the fuel costs have gone up pretty significantly. So how does that affect your potential customers?
The fact that we have customers, because the La Hague, if you went to La Hague, you saw that not only we have the EDF as a customer, which is the French utility, but we have also now the Italians who are working for Netherlands. Means that they're happy with the price. And we are happy with the price because we make money. So it should be economical somewhere. But more seriously, if you look at the cost of recycling compared to the cost of the one-through solution, you have to compare. You have to do it completely. So if you look at the one-through solution, you have to look at the cost of buying new uranium, okay, and you have to look at the cost of the repository. And cost of repositories in the US right now is infinite, okay, because it doesn't exist. Okay, and if you look actually at the Yucca Mountain program,